This is the moment of which it is said man's extremity is God's opportunity.
There are some skills that stand out for early levels or with low-level weapons. Skills that can lock or disable an enemy. Skills that will knock down an enemy. These skills do not care about the damage of your weapon. Your weapon can have a damage of 1, and it will function as intended. Soul Skewer will lock an enemy within your grasp. You can hold them and damage them for a time, or you can release Soul Skewer and throw the enemy down and knock them down to gain the upper hand, or you can release that enemy upon gravity and then just kill them that way. Not all enemies will fall for the Soul Skewer. Small enemies like zombies, wolves, goblins, stout undead, and skeleton brutes. But those are the size limit. The stout undead and poison undead, skeleton brutes. Beyond that point, like Eliminator, is too big. Ogres, Chimera, Cyclops, too big. And it is limited to one enemy only, so crowd control is not optimal. 1 or 2, you can use this skill, but more than 2 enemies, you should find something else. And Snakebite is similar to Soul Skewer, though it does not have the gravity possibility. It will knock down the same variety of enemies, wolves, goblins, and then skeleton brutes, but then that's the end. Eliminators it will not work on. And again, you can have a weapon damage of 1, it doesn't matter. Snakebite will function and knock down that enemy, giving you the upper hand. Shackle is extraordinarily good. It will lock down several enemies within its sigil cage, and at that point, you can attack without any concern of their escape for about 30 seconds. Shackle will, however, torpor larger enemies while they're in the sigil. It will not lock them in. Again, skeleton brutes will get locked in, poison undead, but eliminators will not lock them, only torpor while they're in the sigil. You can set up Shackle as a trap and lure enemies to fall within the sigil, or if you're surrounded, you can lay one down and lock anyone nearby. And you can also plant 2 of these right next to each other, or one right in front of. You can also use the spell bow skill Vortex Trail to pull in nearby enemies to fall into the trap. Implicate, not as good or effective as Soul Skewer or Snakebite or Shackle, but Implicate can reach further from a distance safely. Implicate can also grab up to 3 enemies. Implicate does have an effect on larger enemies too. Unlike the others, it can knock down Cyclops and Ogre. And it can also pull down flying enemies like harpies. And it can even pull down dragons. And it can stagger the Eliminator, Cyclops. It can pull them down. And again, the weapon doesn't really matter. The stagger and knockdown matter, which comes from the weapon, but there are other ways that we can increase our stagger and knockdown with augment or barbed nails. And the Eliminator armor, all of these, while having a low-level weapon, low-level Arisen, we can knock down an enemy. Invasive arrow the location of this arrow will gain a 25% magic damage bonus and 25% physical damage from any attack, from anyone. So your pawn's Levin, or your pawn's explosive volley, 25% damage boost on that specified location. Again, your weapon damage doesn't matter. This skill will just add the bonus.